Hi, welcome to another edition of Mr. Popper's Penguins with Mrs.Matuza. Look a little different today. Decided to change it up. I have my special guest, Manny, the dog. Say hello, Manny. Hello. Just him and I today, hanging out, relaxing. So time for us to read the book. So remember yesterday they had to hide in the barbershop from the audience of people outside. They went in, they got kicked out, had to go out the back. Went all the way up the stairs, dove down, ended up making it home, and when they got home, Mrs. Popper was very much like, why are you such a mess? All right, so they're home, and now Chapter 10, Shadows. Next day, Mr. Popper, there was a picture of Mr. Popper and Captain Cook in the Stillwater Morning Chronicle, with a paragraph about a house painter who had received a penguin by air express from Admiral Drake in the faraway Arctic. Then the Associated Press picked up the story, and a week later the photograph could be seen on the Sunday edition of the most important papers in all the largest cities in the country. Naturally, the Poppers all felt very proud and happy. Captain Cook was not happy, however. He had suddenly ceased his happy, exploring little walks about the house and would sit most of the day sulking in the refrigerator. Mrs. Popper had removed all the stranger objects, leaving only the marbles and checkers, so that Captain Cook now had a nice, orderly little rookery. "He won't play with us any more," said Bill. "I tried to get some of my marbles from him, and he tried to bite me." "Naughty Captain Cook," said Janie. "Better leave him alone, children," said Mrs. Popper. "He feels mopey, I guess." But it was soon clear that there was something worse than mopiness that ailed Captain Cook. All day he would sit with his little white circled eyes staring out sadly from the refrigerator. His coat had lost its lovely glossy look. His round little stomach grew flatter every day. He would turn away now from Mrs. Popper when she offered him canned shrimps. One evening she took his temperature. It was 104 degrees. "Well, Papa," she said, "I think you'd better call a veterinarian doctor. I'm afraid Captain Cook is really ill." But when the veterinary came, he only shook his head. He was a very good animal doctor, and though he had never taken care of a penguin before, he knew enough about birds to see at a glance that this one was seriously ill. "Well, I'll leave you some pills. Give him one every hour, then you can try feeding him on sherbet and wrapping him in packs of ice, but I cannot give you any encouragement because I'm afraid it is a hopeless case. This kind of bird was never made for this climate, you know. I can see that you've taken good care of him, but an Antarctic penguin can't thrive in still water." That night the Poppers sat up all night, taking turns changing the ice packs. It was no use. In the morning, Mrs. Popper took Captain Cook's temperature again. It had gone up to 105. Oh, no. Everyone was very sympathetic. The reporter on the Morning Chronicle stopped in to inquire about the penguin. The neighbors brought in all sorts of broths and jellies to try to tempt the little fella. Even Mrs. Callahan, who had never had a very high opinion of Captain Cook, made a lovely frozen custard for him. Nothing did any good. Captain Cook was too far gone. Oh no, poor Captain Cook. He slept all day, and everyone was saying that the end was not far away. All the Poppers had grown terribly fond of the funny, solemn little chap, and Mr. Popper's heart was frozen with terror. It seemed to him that his life would be very empty if Captain Cook went away. Surely someone would know what to do for a sick penguin. He wished that there was some way of asking advice of Admiral Drake away down in the South Pole, but there was not time. In his despair, Mr. Popper had an idea. A letter had brought him his pet, so he sat down and wrote another letter. It was addressed to Dr. Smith, the curator of the great aquarium in Mammoth City, the largest in the world. Surely if anyone had any idea what could cure a dying penguin, this man would. 2 days later, an answer came from the curator. "Unfortunately," he wrote, "it's not easy to cure a sick penguin. Perhaps you do not know that we too have in our aquarium at Mammoth City a penguin from the Antarctic. It is also failing rapidly in spite of everything we have done for it. I have wondered lately whether it is not suffering from loneliness. Perhaps that is what ails your Captain Cook. I am therefore shipping you under separate cover our penguin. You may keep her. There is a chance that the birds may get on a bit better together. And that is how Greta came to live at 432 Proudfoot Avenue. Another penguin? Do we think it's going to help Captain Cook? I hope so. The next chapter, chapter 11, is called Greta. We can only hope. Fingers crossed for Captain Cook. See you guys tomorrow.